NYPD cop John McClane's plan to reconcile with his estranged wife is thrown for a serious loop when minutes after he arrives at her office Christmas party, the entire building is overtaken by a group of terrorists. With little help from the LAPD, wisecracking McClane sets out to single-handedly rescue the hostages and bring the bad guys down. This episode of Still Holds Up, we're doing Die Hard, the ultimate Christmas movie. Let's get into it.
You got me.
Still the cowboy. Mr. McClane, Americans, all alike. Well, this time John Wayne does not walk off into the sunset with Grace Kelly.
This Gary Cooper, asshole.
Enough jokes.
You made a pretty good cowboy yourself, Hans.
Oh, yes. What was it you said to me before? Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
That was so good.
We're talking about the ultimate Christmas movie. I love it. I love that on the tag.
Oh, yeah. It's that time of year. It's the best time of year. We're doing a nice series of episodes here on Christmas movies, so why not the best, probably, in my opinion.
It's the best one, also most controversy, for sure.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's like 50-50 split, right, people?
No, it's actually, the last poll that I found, 47% said it's not a Christmas movie.
Oh.
And then 44% said it is a Christmas movie.
I don't know what people are watching.
Then we did the math, and it's like, what?
People are undecided?
I don't know. My wife's family, like, I feel like to them, it's not a Christmas movie. And for me, I feel like that's hard to believe, considering you actually gave it a good analogy. You compared it to
Home Alone is kids' Die Hard.
Yeah.
Die Hard is an adult Home Alone. I mean, I saw that floating around online. A couple of people call that, so I'm not going to take credit for that, but everybody considers that a Christmas movie. I mean, if you think about Christmas movies, I mean, not to go too deep into this debate, it has great Christmas songs peppered into it. It's happening during Christmas at a Christmas party. And if you want to go even deeper, all Christmas movies about the main character going through a story arc where, you know, either they're jaded or they're not connected with their family, and then Christmas brings families back together, the reconciliation with the family. And that is exactly what's happening with John McClane and his wife.
That's his whole mission. His whole mission is
Exactly.
to save her, save Christmas.
It is such a Christmas movie just off of that fact alone.
Yeah.
Every Christmas movie is about reconciliation, and this is that in spades. Yeah, he's, you know, reconciling with a gun in his hand, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the American way. Second Amendment, baby.
Oh, wow. All right. So really fast, before we get into the movie, let's talk about what the reviews were back then. So Ebert gave it 2 stars. This guy, man, I don't know.
He's tough.
So far, it's not working for me with him. All right. So Ebert says he gives it 2 stars. Die Hard would have been a more than passable thriller. With him, it's a mess. And that's a shame because the film does contain superior special effects, impressive stunt work, and good performances, especially by Rickman as the terrorist. He plays Hans. That guy's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a suggestion for the thrill makers. You can't go wrong if all of the characters in your movie are at least as intelligent as most of the characters in your audience. See, I feel like this is kind of a smart movie from the beginning to the end. That seems pretty harsh.
Yeah, and if you really think about it, all the movies, action movies in that era, we're talking about the 80s, right? This is towards the end of the 80s.
We're still in the 80s, yeah.
Yeah, this is like 88, right? In the action movies before then, there really are more straightforward in terms of storyline. You know, whether it's a Rambo or a Chuck Norris vehicle, they're all pretty much straightforward. Come in, save some people, kill a couple of bad guys, move forward. But Die Hard actually had like a plot and a twist in there that, they started at terrorists, but they end up being, it's a bank heist.
Right.
I mean, no action movie kind of did that beforehand with a plot that was so well intricated where it actually showed you the bad guys were one step ahead of the good guys. They were manipulating the LAPD and the FBI from the jump, and it was all
Right.
for a bank heist. Later on in the 90s, other movies, had more intricate plots, Total Recall, things like that, where, there was a little twist, but this was the first I can remember in the 80s.
Yeah, this movie spawned a lot of like Die Hard wannabes and stuff. I kind of wrote some of them down that I could think of. Under Siege, The Rock, Air Force One, Con Air, Olympus Has Fallen is that one is probably the closest one out of all of them.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember a lot of 80s movies that came in before this.
Missing in Action? You remember those?
Well, I remember them, but I'm trying to remember a movie, with the exception of like Rambo First Blood, that tried to twist at your little heartstrings a little bit throughout.
Kind of tell a story.
Kind of tell a story that you gave a shit about. Not like, my daughter's been kidnapped, got to go get her, stuff like that, where it's like...
I love Commando. That was your Commando, wasn't it?
Maybe. I could do a good Schwarzenegger. Maybe it's some later podcast. I'm not going to try.
But you're so right on that. Those movies were pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Like, save some people, save someone, kill a couple of bad guys, move on.
Yeah.
But these, First Blood told a story and had a message in there, a message about the war.
Right.
And Die Hard had a little twist in there. So
all the little things that they put in this movie, which we're going to show, just makes you care about the characters a little bit more. And I think they did such a good job doing that throughout. But I don't think we're going to get too crazy on it. So let's talk about fun facts really quick before we actually talk about the movie. So the Nakatomi Plaza, that was actually 20th Century Studios headquarters. Costume department, they had 17 undershirts in various stages throughout the movie for Bruce Willis. So as it got dirtier, they switched out the shirt. Bruce Willis, he received $5 million to do this movie, and that was a huge deal back then, especially since he was still kind of an unknown because he was doing Moonlighting.
This is his first action.
I think this was his first action.
Blockbuster thriller, right?
And he wasn't the first one that they were trying to get. So Bruce Willis was the sixth choice to play John McClane.
Wait, you said sixth?
Right. So in 1987, so Bruce Willis he was a relatively unknown actor. We just talked about this. He was on Moonlighting, hit comedy. He did Blind Date, which actually I really like Blind Date.
Who were the five guys?
I'm looking for it right now. So the other people was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay. He doesn't look like a New York cop, though.
Burt Reynolds.
Okay. It's at times. He was popular.
Sylvester Stallone. And I feel like if you're going to say Arnold Schwarzenegger, then if you don't get Arnold, you get Sylvester. If you don't get Sylvester, you try to get Arnold. That was like the 1-2 punch back then.
Stallone could have done it because he did other cop movies pretty well.
Right.
Cobra and Nighthawks. So he could have done it.
Yeah.
I don't know if he would have been as wisecracking as Bruce Willis was, though. I don't know.
No, I don't think he would have been. Next one, Harrison Ford.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That would have been good.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
I mean, he could have
pulled it off.
Well, he does pull it off later in Air Force One.
Yeah, you're right. Get off my plane.
And then last is Richard Gere.
Nah.
No. I've tried has he done an action movie that?
No.
I can't think of one.
I can't think of.
I'm not saying he didn't do it.
I'm sure people will comment on that one.
So Sam Neill was the first choice to play Hans Gruber.
Sam Neill. Nah, I wouldn't have. I'm glad. I mean, these things work out for the reason they work out. So I wouldn't have changed a thing.
No, I think
Rickman did a great job.
Yeah, I don't think.
Is that how you pronounce his name? Rickman. Rickman did a great job.
I can't think of anybody else doing it. He nailed that part for sure. Yippee-ki-yay. Okay, so yippee-ki-yay was only meant to be a joke.
Really?
Yeah. So when anybody says that line, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, everybody automatically thinks of Die Hard.
Of course.
Automatically. And so it wasn't even in the script. So Bruce Willis, ever the Joker, uttered the film's famous line originally as a joke to lighten up the crew during filming. Little did he know the ad-libbed line would not only become a part of the film, it would also go on to be part of film history.
Yeah, and pop culture.
Yeah, pop culture, yeah.
I mean, that thing's... Everybody knows that.
Yeah. Let's play the trailer and let's talk about the trailer.
You want to know? This is going to be the first time I've ever watched the trailer. So I didn't want to watch it before we did this episode. I wanted to see it and watch it like live for the first time.
All right,
so fresh.
Here we go.
It's Christmas Eve in L.A.
California.
Is Daddy coming home soon? Well, we'll see what Santa and Mommy can do, okay?
And New York cop John McClane has come to see his wife.
I missed you.
Instead, he's going to have to save her. Within this skyscraper high above the city, 12 terrorists have declared war.
They're about to be taught a lesson in the real use of power.
They're as brilliant
Because I am interested in the $640 million in your vault.
as they are ruthless.
But I'm telling you, you're just gonna have to kill me. Okay. We do it the hard way.
Now, the last thing McClane wants is to be a hero.
Where's Howie? Hey, Tucker! Where?
But he doesn't have a choice.
What does he think he's doing?
John.
They have already killed one hostage.
This channel is reserved for emergency calls only.
Lady, do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza?
He's inside? Who is he? Who are you then? You are most troublesome for a security guard.
Sorry, wrong guess, hon. Would you like to go for double jeopardy?
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
You just destroyed a building. And I am in charge of this situation.
I got some bad news for you. From up here, that look like you're in charge of Jack.
He is alone, he is tired, and he hasn't seen dipping squat from anybody down here.
Hey, pal, how you feeling?
All things being equal, I'd rather be in Philadelphia. I want blood. And you have it.
Only John can drive somebody that crazy.
He's an easy guy to like
Come out to the coast. We'll get together, have a few laughs.
and a hard man to kill. Bruce Willis, Die Hard.
Got invited to the Christmas party by mistake. Who knew?
That was long,
That's a long trailer right there.
but
Wow.
pretty awesome though.
Yeah.
Great voiceover, plenty of action. They showed you pretty much everything.
That does show you everything. A lot of the one-liners are in there.
Yeah.
That's one of those trailers that I think shows you way too much.
Yeah, they even revealed like the twist that they're out for the $600 million in the vault.
Yeah.
Like they ruined that part.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
I feel like it should be like a minute long.
Yeah.
And even then, I feel like it's
Minute
too
and a
much.
half.
Let's talk about some of these scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
So John McClane, Bruce Willis's character, he is now flown into Los Angeles from New York to see his estranged wife. Seems like he hasn't seen her in a year.
6 months.
6 months. Was it 6 months? Okay,
months.
yeah. So she moved out from New York to Los Angeles to follow her career. And so things kind of fell apart in their marriage. And so he's coming out for Christmas, to hang out with the fam. And so he meets her at the holiday Christmas party. He needs to freshen up a little bit. So this scene takes place in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Let's just play the scene. We'll talk about it afterwards.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I missed you.
I guess you didn't miss my name, though, huh? Except maybe when you're signing checks. Since when did you start using Ms. Gennaro?
It's a Japanese company. They figure a married woman's got
You are
more
a married woman, Holly. You're married to
Well,
me.
we're going to have this
Remember, you didn't
conversation
waste
again.
much
We
time
did this in
getting out of
July.
We never finished this conversation in
opportunity.
July.
I had to take it.
Right. No matter what the consequences, no matter what it did to our marriage,
It
you had
didn't
to
do
take
anything
this
to our marriage
opportunity.
except maybe change your idea of what our marriage
I don't
should
think
be.
you have a clue as to what my idea of our
I know
marriage should be,
exactly
Holly.
what your idea of our marriage should be.
Miss Gennaro,
I know it seems kind of weird to throw this scene into like a podcast about an action movie.
It's an important scene though.
It's important because it sets up the dynamic that him and his wife have right now, where it's, their marriage is crap. But yet what he's about to do, regardless of where their marriage is at, he's still about to risk his life to basically save her. And every single thing he does in this movie, I never once get the impression that he even gives a shit about anybody else in that building.
Yeah, but her.
it's really all about her.
And she's like putting an olive branch out there, into being "I miss you," and he puts his foot in.
He's being a total dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's part of the Christmas
Yeah.
lore of the story, right? He's still being a New Yorker, wisecracking idiot
Yeah.
because like the wife is kind of, and I think she invited him to stay at their house instead of go stay with a cop buddy.
Yeah, it's like they're like his retired chief or something like
Yeah.
that. Or retired captain.
So
He
she's
lives in
like, come
Pomona.
stay here.
Yeah.
I miss you. And then he goes in on about her last name, and it just sparks the argument that they obviously had 6 months ago on why they're estranged. So it's a great scene. And it also shows that she, is a tough character herself. Like she goes blow for blow with him right there on the spot. The argument is just your typical husband-wife, hard-headed argument.
Yeah. A lot of these scenes we're picking right now kind of build up each character.
Yeah.
I'm assuming most of the people that actually listen to this podcast have seen the movie. If you haven't, I don't know what you're doing listening to this podcast. You need to go see the movie. Throughout the movie, John's trying to basically get the attention of the police department to kind of come out there. The phone lines are dead because they've cut the lines. He's pulled the fire alarm, and that didn't work because they called the fire department and said it was a false alarm. He gets on the radio, and he gets on some channel for the police department, and they don't believe him.
No.
So, but they still send out a black and white just to kind of like, find out if this guy's telling the truth or not. Sergeant Al Powell, when he gets Carl Winslow, when he gets the dispatch, when he gets the radio call to actually go to the Nakatomi Plaza, he's in like some AM/PM or something like that.
Yeah, he's grabbing snacks and
he's grabbing his Twinkies.
Donut.
No, but his Twinkies though.
Twinkies. Yeah.
And even the clerks give him shit for it. He shows up. He goes and he talks to like the
fake security guy watching the game.
Yeah, he goes and talks to the fake security guard, and he gets the impression that it is a false alarm. The guy weasels his way out of it,
he's like, go ahead, check. I'm watching the game, kind of situation.
Yeah. So Sergeant Al Powell gets into his car, and luckily, John McClane just killed a dude.
Yeah.
And so
happened to have an extra body.
He happened to have something that he could release through a window and land perfectly on top of this car. So let's listen.
8 Lincoln 30 to dispatch.
8030, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a wild goose chase over here at Nakatomi Plaza. Everything here's okay. Over. But nobody has any place to go. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Man, God, everything is a crime!
Welcome to the party, pal.
Fucking Argyle.
Oh.
Police with automatic rifle fire in Nakatomi. I need backup assistance now! Now, goddammit, now!
All right, Max. If you ever want to really get the attention of the police, take a dead body, throw it out of a building, and make sure it lands on top of a squad car.
Oh, yeah.
And then, to top it off, make sure you have some terrorists shoot at him as he's driving backwards hysterically.
He was
losing
panicking.
his mind.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking about life-changing, career-altering, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
This is not for me anymore.
No, he's going to leave work. He's going to go directly to, back then I guess it would have been a Kmart. He's going to buy some new undies because that's going to mess you up.
And did you notice Argyle just like rocking out to some music and all this happening behind him, and he's like oblivious to it.
Yeah, man. He's getting down. That's what happens when you get a limo back in the 80s. You park that limo and you live in that limo. Argyle's a good dude. He's sitting there waiting for a phone call from John to let him know if he needs a place to crash or not. That's a pretty good friend right there. Considering you've only known him for like maybe 20 minutes before you actually got into the building. So that guy's down for you for sure. Let's talk about the next scene. So this scene's pretty important because this is the first time that John and Hans have a conversation. And so John's killed a guy, right? Gets his walkie-talkie.
Couple of guys, I think.
At this point, because he killed a couple dudes. He's killed 2 or 3 guys now. He's got the detonators.
The most important piece.
Yeah, so the plan doesn't work without the detonators. So Hans needs to figure that out. So this scene's important because it's their first conversation, and we get to hear John say that famous line, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker." Here we go.
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Unless you want to open the front door for me.
I'm afraid not. But you have me at a loss. You know my name, but who are you? Just another American who saw too many movies as a child? Another orphan of a bankrupt culture who thinks he's John Wayne?
Rambo, Marshall Dillon.
I was always kind of partial to Roy Rogers, actually. I really like those sequin shirts.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's the line right there. That's the line. When I first heard that line, I probably used that line way too much.
It's a classic scene. I mean, very important, that scene, because it's like Hans is trying to get some info, and he's obviously knows he can't let him know who he is because his wife is right there. And that ruins everything.
I mean, that scene's important because it also sets up their dynamic. Cat and mouse, fox and the hound kind of thing. They already knew that John was running around because he gave them a present, which was Carl's dead brother in the elevator.
Yeah.
With that message, ho, 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 from Santa. All right, so let's talk about our next scene. Have you ever noticed in most 80s movies and even 90s movies, there's always got to be a scene in an action movie where there's some dude doing coke and a quick shot of some boobs.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. Lethal
Always
Weapon.
there.
It seems like it always happens. So Ellis is the coke guy
He's doing it in Holly's office, not even his own office.
Yeah, doing it in Holly's office, and then he's also trying to strut his stuff around John in the beginning, show him the watch.
Yeah.
Apparently he got Holly
It's a Rolex.
It's a Rolex. Got Holly a Rolex. And this scene's great because the actor who plays Ellis, his name is Hart Bochner. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything else. I didn't really do a deep dive on him to kind of figure out what he's done, but he does
an excellent job.
He does a great job playing a douchebag. So let's go ahead and let's listen to this part.
Hey, John, I think you could get with the program a little, huh? The police are here now. It's their problem. Now tell these guys where the detonators are so no one else gets hurt. I'm putting my life on the line for you, pal.
Ellis, listen to me very carefully.
John. Shut up, Ellis. Just shut your mouth.
I love the amount of
Hans back
reverb
on the line.
on him because he's in an office.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like he's in a hallway. Like why is there so much reverb
Then
on
you'll
his
give us what
voice?
we want and save your friend's life. You're not part of this equation. It's time you realized that.
Hey, what am I, a method actor, Hans?
Babe, put away the gun. This is radio, not television.
Hans, this asshole is not my friend. I just met him tonight. I don't know him. Jesus Christ, Ellis, these people are gonna kill you. Tell them you don't know me.
John, how can you say that after all these years, huh? John.
He drinks that Coke.
So I don't know. Maybe you can help explain to me why this scene even happens. So what exactly is Ellis's end game here?
Remember, he was talking with Holly. He's like, this is just negotiating. This is what I do, kind of thing.
Right.
He was going to try to get John to give him the detonators and let the people out. I think that's what his goal was. He thought he was going to be the hero. He was going to talk his way out. But remember, he's also coked up right now. So.
Well, yeah, okay. So he just did a line before he went in there. I get that. But what does he think John's going to do? Like, obviously, he doesn't know John. He just met him that day. He's saying these lies to make, Hans think that they have this relationship where John's on the other end kind of going, at least I would think he's like thinking, why on earth would I come back to you? Like, if I already haven't done that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And Hans played him well. I mean, they had him relax.
Yeah.
They brought him a Coke.
I love the Coke.
The guy poured it for him.
But then he pulls out the gun. He's like, Hans, baby, what am I? Put away the gun. What am I, a method actor? Such a great line.
Oh, he chugs that Coke down when he realizes it's over for him.
Oh, man.
Horrible way to go.
Yeah.
But he did it to himself. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, the guy was an idiot. I would say, like, just going back to Ebert's review of this, if he's talking about any character, it would be that guy right there.
That guy
it would be him. It would be
the reporter,
the captain. There's like three guys, but every movie's got to have those three.
Yeah.
Ultimate. I don't even know what word to use right here.
Douchebags.
Ultimate. I feel like I've used douchebags too much, but yeah, ultimate douchebags. All right, let's talk about the next scene. So this one's another important scene because this is the first time now that John and Hans meet face to face.
Face to face.
And I think you love this scene. Why don't you explain why you love this scene?
I love this scene because it's the first time they meet face to face, and it's not what you kind of expect for the main character and the main villain's meeting because Hans just switches it up on him with his accent and totally tries to fool him. So let's listen to it and see how it goes.
Hi there. How you doing?
Oh, please, God, no, you're one of them, aren't you? You're one of them. No, don't kill me, please, no, please. Don't kill me, please, please.
Whoa, relax. Relax, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm not gonna hurt you.
Oh,
What the fuck are you doing up here? What were you looking for?
I managed to get out of there.
Can I just say how much I love Alan Rickman?
Oh, he's so good.
So good. Like Galaxy Quest, Harry Potter. Like, dude,
awesome.
the guy's a legend. But yeah, you're absolutely right. When he gets the American accent.
I know. Like, quick thinking. He's a great villain.
Yeah.
Quick thinking villain right there. You know? Most villains would have probably tried to like pump up his chest and or try to fight him. He just like using his mind. Let me try to trick him.
But he plays that out for a while.
Yeah.
Because after that scene, like they
share a cigarette.
You know, he kind of tells a little bit like more story. I mean,
he gives a fake name.
Yeah.
Off the directory. Yeah. So Hans he's on it.
Yeah.
And then he gives him a gun, and that's when you realize, oh man, John, are you making a mistake right here? And and obviously he's not. Like he kind of
Hans gets a little overzealous and he decides like now I'm gonna basically just let John know who I am by just getting on my walkie and talking.
What was it, German?
It's got to be German. Yeah, it just starts talking German. Next scene would be the bloody bathroom.
Yeah, because that leads to. After that, that's when the guys come. He
shooting
runs,
the glass.
And that's when they start shooting them.
Shooting the glass because Hans sees that John's not wearing any shoes. Yeah. And so there's a gunfight that happens afterwards. They're trying to get the detonators. And so he tells my boy, Carl, who's the Fabio turned to life of crime, tells Carl to shoot the glass. Yeah. And so they shoot the glass. And now John's got to run through the glass to get out of there. And so he gets bloody feet, ends up in the bathroom. He's just dragging blood behind him and stuff. So this is where there's two heart-to-hearts that actually happen in this bathroom. Yeah. Now John's going to find out why Al drives like Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Let's take a listen.
Why he's a beat cop.
I had an accident.
The way you drive, I can see why. What'd you do? Run over your captain's foot with the car.
I shot a kid. He was 13 years old. Oh, it was dark. I couldn't see him. He had a ray gun, looked real enough. You know, when you're a rookie, they can teach you everything about being a cop except how to live with a mistake. Anyway, I just couldn't bring myself to draw my gun on anybody again.
Sorry, man.
Hey, man. How could you know?
I feel like shit anyway.
Yeah, man. So that's a deep scene right there.
Oh, for sure. I mean, but it lays the path for later scenes, especially the end. You know,
yeah.
That's why he doesn't use a gun, but at the end he needs to use that gun. You know.
Yeah, because
at Carl.
Because Fabio doesn't die, man.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Hard to kill that guy.
Yeah. All right, let's. Next scene is it's your pick. We're still in the bloody bathroom.
Yeah, like now. So John's done cleaning up, and he has this come to Jesus moment kind of thing where he's like the reconciliation for a hard-nosed action hero. The reason I love this scene is, and why I think this is such a Christmas movie, is because this hard-nosed cop is actually going to have, you know, a catharsis moment here where he's going to apologize. So hear it out.
I want you to find my wife. Don't ask me how. By then you'll know how. I want you to tell her something. I want you to tell her that tell her it took me a while to figure out what a jerk I've been. But that when things started to pan out for her, I should have been more supportive, and I just should have been behind her more. Oh, shit. Tell her that she's the best thing that ever happened to a bum like me.
That's it.
Yeah, man.
I mean, that's that guardian angel moment in It's a Wonderful Life. You kind of realize you messed up, and that's groundbreaking for an action movie and a hard-nosed NYPD cop, to admit he's sorry and he's wrong.
Well, I mean, it also shows why he's doing all the things that he's doing. Because, the last time that we saw him with his wife, they were fighting over, her following her career and going to Los Angeles and their marriage falling apart because of it. And then all this crap happens in the building. And now you have this moment where it's like, yeah, I might have had that fight with my wife, but shit, I love her more than anything. I'm going to go
to hell.
I'm going to go to hell and back, to save her. And if that's not the definition of Christmas.
I mean, yeah. It's family. It's all of that.
Yeah. Love one another.
Great scene.
Yeah.
Great scene. And Bruce Willis nails it.
And that scene also just adds to every single thing else that happens after that. When the giant fight with Carl, the never-ending, the everlasting Energizer Bunny that just keeps going and going and going. One thing that's great about this movie is John McClane's personality and his one-liners and stuff. And I did read one of the things that he did to prepare for this movie is he talked to a lot of cops and stuff like that. And he found that every cop that he talked to, even the cops that were on set, they all had a sense of humor like this. And so he took this sense of humor and put this in the movie because of all the cops that he was hanging out with. And so throughout the movie, he has all these one-liners.
Yeah, wisecracks.
John McClane's fighting Carl, the everlasting bunny, Fabio turned to crime. And I love this. I'm just going to play a small clip, but listen to what he says right here.
Kill you. I'm gonna fucking cook you. I'm gonna fucking eat you.
I'm going to kill you. I'm going to fucking cook you. I'm going to fucking eat you.
Where did all that come from?
Amazing. That's amazing. I just thought that scene's great. All right, so next one, it's you again.
Yeah. So now this is towards the end of the movie. He's on the roof now, and he's trying to clear the hostages off.
Right.
But he's doing that. Hans is about to blow the roof, and he has, the two Johnsons in the helicopter shooting at him.
Johnson and Johnson?
Johnson and Johnson. Great scene here. And his ingenuity comes into play with the fire hose.
By the way, IMDb, guess what Johnson and Johnson's names are?
What are their first names?
Big John and Little John.
Oh, my goodness. I got to take on those guys later on.
We're gonna go through all these guys one time. So, all right, so this is kind of a long scene. You got the setting?
Yep.
Set it up. All right, here we go.
Get down! Get down! Get the fuck down!
They made us, Bureau. You got a terrorist shooting hostage.
Bank left. Nail that sucker! Swing around again! I'll bag this little bastard! Oh, John, what the fuck are you doing? How the fuck did you get into this shit?
There's something wrong. They're coming back down.
Blow the roof.
The car's up there! Blow the roof!
I promise I will never
Even think about going up in a tall building again.
Oh, God, please don't let me die.
Stop right there.
Woo!
Wow.
That's a lot of action right there.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
a lot of action.
He's dangling. He shoots the glass.
Yeah.
And now the hose is pulling him down, and he's like trying to untie it while he's being dragged. Feet all cut up. It's an amazing scene, and that look he gives when he finally gets that hose off, like he breathes like that sigh of like, oh my goodness, I was almost dead off of a freaking fire hose.
Right. Every movie has a WTF moment.
Yeah.
We're going to call that a WTF moment when he jumps off with the fire hose and then doesn't get blown off the building.
Yeah.
The rest of this movie, it falls into place kind of how you'd want it to. And he saves the day, kills the bad guy, saves the hostages, saves the wife. They come down from the building, little hug out. And
you find out that it was more than a terrorist act. It was basically a bank heist.
Yeah.
What was it, $600 million they were stealing?
In unmarked bearer bonds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Good for them. All right.
Good twist.
Let's not forget who gets the last kill, though, is Carl.
Yeah.
Carl Winslow.
Who hasn't used his gun since killing the poor 13-year-old kid, right?
Yeah.
And Carl comes out, and Carl Winslow ends Carl.
Yeah, Carl Winslow killed Carl. That's right. All right, let's bring up a couple key guys. So, like John McClane, let me tell you right now, this guy can make anything seem cool. With his one-liners and his cigarette breaks, it makes me, man. Really.
His street smarts is through the roof, too. I mean, in all the Die Hard movies, he's very, creative and he's almost like a MacGyver.
Yeah.
He makes things work.
It's funny you talk about the other Die Hard movies. So really fast, let's jump over to Holly Gennaro McClane.
Yeah.
The gall in this girl, I feel like I'm going to use this word properly. The fact that John saves her from terrorists, dangling off of the side of a building, being pulled off from the side of a building. Then it seems like 2 years later, it's Die Hard 2, and he saves her again from a plane that's running out of fuel.
Yeah,
that she's about to blow up, but they're not together in Die Hard 3. Somehow at this point, I feel like she should be following him around everywhere.
Yeah.
Because this dude's going to do anything he can do to save her life. She should feel snuggly, warm, cuddle. I mean, the fights they must be having behind the scenes must be epic for her to basically go, no, we're not going to be together.
And if you remember, at the end of Vengeance, he's supposed to make the phone call to her, calls her, and then he realizes the Nova Scotia on the pills, and he just leaves her hanging.
Yeah, but
that's the end. That's over.
No. He goes back and calls her again.
Oh, he does at the end. Yeah, you're right.
But they're not together in 4. So obviously that conversation didn't go well.
Yeah, the 4 is the daughter.
Anyways, all right. So Hans Gruber, that's Alan Rickman.
Excellent job.
I would say he has to win the award for the best bad guy to ever hold more than 30 hostages. Because man, he does a stellar job. I don't know if we're handing out awards yet. Got any takes on anything else before we go into most randomish stuff?
Well, when we're recording this, Theo passed away just yesterday.
Yeah.
And we had some interesting takes on Theo. I mean, he was running point.
Clarence Gilliard Jr.
Yeah, just passed away yesterday.
Yeah.
I remember him from Walker, Texas Rangers. My dad loved that show with Chuck Norris. And he was great in this. He's great in a lot of things,
Yeah.
And he was really good in this movie. Like you said, he's the hacker. Well, you run down all his job titles.
Well, okay. So if we're doing awards, let's just jump to awards. Then if we're doing awards, okay. So he's got to be the Oh, there's a road. Okay, so for this movie, he's got to be best goon. So he's a computer hacker. He breaks into safes. He can run point on a military defense of an actual building, which is pretty awesome. And he's running surveillance. Let's also not forget that he's the one who managed to hide an ambulance in the back of a semi-truck that nobody else could see in the beginning of the movie, but then he pops it out at the end of the movie.
That's right. That's their getaway.
That's their getaway.
Genius.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so, he did a lot.
Theo is Goon of the Year. All right, so my next award's got to go to the biggest slime bag, which would be Ellis.
Oh.
That dude doing coke
in somebody else's office.
Trying to brag about getting a watch for some girl that's not you don't have a chance for it. Yeah. And then this guy somehow, as messed up as he is, thinks he can save the day by pretending to be John McClane's best friend.
Yeah.
And talk him to bring in the detonators. It made no sense. He deserved to die.
Yeah.
And no one's going to miss Ellis.
Yeah.
Couple of other nominees really fast.
Thornburg.
Yeah. Let's talk. Thornburg was
the reporter.
The reporter. It's a slime bag reporter, basically, and he does whatever he can to get a story. Doesn't care who he throws under the bus, including calling social services or calling,
INS.
or calling INS. Yeah.
Yeah, he threatened the nanny.
Yeah.
How are you gonna mess with the nanny?
Yeah. And then for Mr. Takagi, dude.
What do you have for Mr. Takagi?
Dude, Mr. Takagi, it's not an award. It's just a simple, just give him the code, man.
Yeah.
If you think you can't get in with your one code, give him the code. What are you thinking? That made no sense. That scene made no sense. Like, if you think you're never going to break in, they're just going to change. Just give him the code.
Yeah, just give him the code.
Just give him the code.
That doesn't hurt you. He lost his life for that. What an idiot.
Yeah, total idiot. Other than that, best I would say best blind date partner will have to go to Sergeant Al Powell.
That's a good one. It was a good wingman. It was. It is. I guess I don't want to call it a buddy movie, but it was a long distance buddy movie, I guess.
Yeah.
For me, I have Holly Gennaro McClane for New York Ice in Her Veins Nerve of Steel Award. I mean, just like a good New York woman, she holds her own with fighting with John, and she didn't flinch when she's dealing with Hans at any point.
Yeah.
They shoot Ellis. Everybody else is panicking. She's okay. I can handle that.
That's because she's from New York.
She's from New York. And then when Hans finds out that she's the wife, they're shooting again, and
he comes out like a lunatic to go get her. He's like sliding.
Yeah.
Sliding on the tile, shooting the machine gun in the air.
And she's again stoic.
Yeah.
Nothing's phasing her.
Yeah.
And of course, let's not forget that right cross she gives Thornburg at the end on live TV. Everybody's watching, and she doesn't give a damn.
Yeah.
She just cold cocks him.
Yeah.
I mean, she was a great character.
She gets a restraining order for that. We'll find out in the second movie. All right, let's jump into where I'm going to rank this movie. So
what about random? You skipped random and hot takes.
I actually already said my random, which is 80s and 90s naked chick with coke.
I had stupid thing with the hat. I don't know why old Johnson, was in the chopper and his hat was backwards. What the hell is that?
Because he was from Saigon, dude. He's from Saigon. Listen to this clip. It's funny you mentioned. Listen to this clip.
Just like fucking Saigon! Hey, Slick!
I was in junior high, dickhead.
So stupid.
Hat backwards, just like Saigon.
I was at junior high, dickhead.
That leads me to my hot take. I think Johnson & Johnson, FBI agents, would have been a funny 80s spin-off buddy movie that would have snuck in before the 90s style movies rolled around.
Yeah.
You could have gotten that in, and it would have worked. That would have been a great buddy movie.
I would watch that. I mean, I think
it would have been hilarious.
I think if they make that movie today, if they make Die Hard today, that's a spin-off show that's going to HBO Max.
Johnson
and I would watch that for sure.
Those two, what a character. Those two were just so weird.
All right, if we're doing hot takes, here's my hot take on this movie. This movie is 100% a Christmas film, all right? It's all about an estranged husband trying to save his wife on Christmas Eve from a group of German terrorists who end up actually just being bank robbers.
Yeah.
He's the only one who can save his wife and the group of innocent people in the Nakatomi Plaza. So that's a Christmas movie, and I don't care what anybody says. This is always being played in December for me.
Same here. I mean, the music, it's again, we talked about it before.
Yeah.
The Christmas music is peppered throughout, well peppered in the movie.
Yeah.
It's happening at a Christmas party, the reconciliation with the family.
Yeah.
It's the perfect Christmas movie. It is adult Home Alone. And Home Alone is Kids Die Hard. I love that take. Again, I'm not going to take credit for that. I saw that one online and I was like, yes. Home Alone is Kids Die Hard.
All right. So I'm going to rank this movie really fast as far as all the other Die Hard movies. This one obviously is number one for me.
Mm-hmm.
Not because it's just it's the first movie, but it's the more, how do I say, down to earth out of the other Die Hard movies. Each Die Hard movie, I feel, kind of falls under that Friday the 13th issue, where each movie has to be more and more ridiculous in order to make sense. So like in Friday the 13th, Jason Voorhees just becomes like supernatural. Like he just becomes like unstoppable.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what John McClane becomes in these other movies.
Yeah.
But this one's the most grounded out of all of them. It's like one dude, and he like you even see that in the first time he's confronted when he's isolated. He has the chance to save Mr. Takagi. And there's 3 dudes in there. And I feel like John McClane in Die Hard with a Vengeance would have just busted in there and just shot the 3 of those dudes. Die Hard, what is it, Live Free or Die Hard? Is that the fourth one? He'd have drove a car into the 3rd story of the building and then somehow shot it up to him and then killed them all in the room.
Now, do you think that's because of the times, how action movies became even more...
I just think that's how all movies are. All movies, I feel like, all action movies have to somehow one-up the other movie. And that just means more explosions, more fight scenes, more ridiculous stuff.
Taking a helicopter out with a taxi cab.
You could look at any franchise. I mean, I feel like you can look at any action franchise from the beginning to the end, and they all just get crazier and crazier. I'm sure there's exceptions, but for the most part, that's just kind of how I feel about them. So that's why I feel like this is the number one. As far as like... it's also the slowest out of all of them as well. I mean, if you like, I love Die Hard with a Vengeance just because it's basically just nonstop action.
Oh yeah,
it's and you put Samuel L. Jackson in a car with Bruce Willis, man,
gold.
I would watch every movie that they do together.
Now, full disclosure, I haven't seen like that last one. I think they're in Russia with his son or something.
That's the worst out of all of them.
I haven't seen that one.
It's terrible. If you talk about a bunch of WTF moments, that movie is filled with it. And I remember seeing that with a buddy of mine, Brian, and we saw it like the week it came out, and we both left that movie going, what did we just watch? And we actually both saw Live Free or Die Hard when it came out. And we loved that one.
Yeah,
but then when we saw the next one, it was a huge disappointment. So anyways, first Die Hard movie is number one for me.
For me, I really enjoyed Die Hard. I love this one. But being from New York, I have to go with Vengeance as my personal favorite by a slim margin. You mentioned it, Samuel L. Jackson, the heist that they're trying to pull off.
Vengeance is a good movie. And it's actually the true sequel to the first movie because it's got Hans Gruber's brother in
there. Yeah. Executing a great
I know the guy. I know the family.
And I love that straight killer chick who doesn't talk and just slices people up.
Yeah.
The whole New York vibe of the movie is great. I'm just joking. That's still number 2 for me. Die Hard is good, and it's definitely the top 5 action movie for me. This original one. I love Vengeance. I mean, I was going back and forth on it. I gave you all the great reasons why Vengeance could be.
Vengeance is great.
It really is good.
I like
gotta go with the original still.
Yeah.
I mean, after all said and that, and that's why it's my favorite Christmas movie. It's again, we're gonna be doing top 5 lists episodes. This, I already tell you right now, it's gonna be in my top 5 action movies. I just love this movie.
I can see that.
And Vengeance is so close. It's so close, and it's so tempting to say Vengeance is better.
Yeah, I will say that, when we did Batman, and when I sat there and did Batman, and I sat there and took like notes and really paid attention to that movie.
Yeah.
There's so many things that I picked up on it that I'm super shocked I didn't notice before. And that just bumped that up for me. Just like, it just gave me more clarification, I guess.
Yeah.
It just gave me more clarification that is my favorite Batman movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that if we did the same thing with Vengeance, that could change our minds.
Yeah. Vengeance was so well done.
It's good.
It really is good. It's right there. Now, I gotta say, I gotta watch the second one again. I haven't watched that in maybe 15, 20 years almost.
I mean, the second one's good, but the second one's also a rinse and repeat of this one.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. I mean, obviously, because
a little reveal. It's the same.
It has some twists in it that you don't see coming.
Yeah.
But it's
just a plane now.
Yeah.
Or airport.
Yeah, it's a full airport. Yeah. So yeah, final thoughts. Does it still hold up? 100% yes. From the one-liners to the action in this movie, this movie helps set up what becomes a standard formula for a lot of other movies when it comes to, it produced a lot of copycats, which we kind of talked about already. Under Siege, The Rock, Air Force One, Con Air. Olympus Has Fallen. Those movies might not get made if Die Hard doesn't, blow up the way it does.
Yeah.
And there were other movies that had kind of done a formula like that, which, Rambo is one movie that I can think of.
Yeah.
Die Hard, Bruce Willis is a cop, but, not trained for a situation like that. And that you kind of see that in like Air Force One. You see that in The Rock. You see that in Con Air. Well, Con Air may be an exception because
he was like a Marine.
Nick Cage is a badass.
Yeah, he was a Marine.
Yeah.
Too.
I mean, it's kind of like that underdog kind of thing where it's like me against the world, Fox and the Hound, cats versus mice, whatever analogy you want to throw in there. And it did it so well that it definitely spawned a lot of copycats.
Yeah,
100% holds up.
I totally agree. And it's a great Christmas classic. The way they pepper the Christmas music in there, from Run DMC to traditional Christmas music, everything is on par. Even the crazy stuff that's happening in Holiday Party, those stuff still happen. It's like it's a very relatable movie. It has a good pace. It's an enjoyable watch, and it's deeper than you think with the reconciliation with his family.
Yeah. It's an action movie with meaning.
Yeah, action movie with meaning, a good twist. Stands the test of time.
It stands the test of time. All right, you know what? I think that's going to do it for this episode of It Still Holds Up. Thanks for listening.
There you go.
Shoot the glass. Thanks for listening to this episode of Still Holds Up, a Rot Your Brain podcast. Subscribe to the Still Holds Up podcast feed at rotyourbrainmedia.com/stillholdsup. Follow us on Twitter at rot_yourbrain and support Rot Your Brain Media and its podcast by being a part of this exciting new and growing community. Visit patreon.com/rotyourbrainmedia.